Hello and welcome everyone. It is 1 o'clock on May 8th and we are here for another round of remote learning support brought to you by your ESUs. In partnership with ESUs across our state, we are offering 3 different opportunities to engage with us around remote learning, planning for effective remote learning should the need arise that we're still doing this potentially next academic year. So we have, today is a Friday webinar. We'll start off with a little bit of an overview of what we're talking about, and then we'll dive right into an interview with a real teacher, and she'll share her remote learning plan. We'll end off with some breakout conversations and some more resources shared. You want to stay to the end because Andrew has a major announcement at the end today. Then in May, on the 27th, 28th, we have a couple rounds of half-day workshops where we will walk you through creating your own remote learning plan. And finally, join us at that Future Ready conference on June 15 and 16. We're working to finalize that schedule right now. It's gonna be amazing. It'll be awesome. I'm going to stop my screen share, and I should probably say my name is Nick Ziegler, and I am at ESU 5, and I'm joined by a myriad of other ESU folks, but my co-hosts here are Eileen Barks at ESU 2 and Andrew Easton at ESU CC. Eileen, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. Well, we're so happy that you are here, and you'll see the chat going, and use that chat to go back and forth to everyone. The theme for today is motivation to get us through the end of the year. We are super excited that you're here. I'm actually going to share my screen, and I just want to make sure that, there we go. I just want to make sure that everyone is familiar with, did I share the wrong screen? Do you see the schedule? You the right screen or the wrong screen?
We see remote learning support, that front page of the Digital Age Pedagogy website.
Perfect, because my 2 monitors always mess up at this point. Thank you very much.
Yep.
So I want to make sure that you all know where this website is. And Nick, would you put this in the chat as well?
Yes.
Or Andrew?
Yep.
So we've done a little bit of updating. On the front page of the Digital Age Pedagogy page, you will see Andrew in a fabulous notice there, a fabulous YouTube video welcoming you there. But
it's quite the studio there.
It's a good studio, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's great.
Make it work.
But right underneath that, you would click here to see some remote learning support. And I just want to very quickly overview what our ND has said for 2 opportunities. One is in educational opportunities, and one is enrichment opportunities. And you will see on this page that we have an abundance of, I would even call it a plethora of materials for you. Yeah, you can write that one down too, Nick and Andrew. I used the word plethora. Yes, I did. It's Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock, so I've got to use some big words to keep us going. So for educational opportunities, we're actually going to interview Candace in just a little bit, and we're going to go over these. So I'm going to skip this one right now, and I want to just go down here and show you this template that you can put into on the Digital Age Pedagogy page. If you want a template that looks like this for your students, a 1-pager to help them have a path through their learning, you can put your information in right here.
That it will be tied to my big surprise later, just FYI.
It will be. So this is actually where you put that information in. Down here at the bottom, we also identify some enrichment opportunities, types of things for students to, not as they're introducing new content, but as we're enriching the content that's happening right now. Now, usually, it's the end of the school year, it's May, so you may be doing all enrichment activities and not introducing new content. So you may want to come over and look at these types of activities for students, like some gamified and independent learning platforms like IXL or Study Island, or maybe there's a skill-based or a specific like online games that you would be looking at, or some sort of Moodles, a MOOC, or a a certificated program. But all of those types of things there. And then there's also some enrichment opportunity choice boards. Again, an abundance or a plethora of ideas for you there as well. So I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen because I'm going to, or maybe, actually, is Candace on? Candace, come off of mute if you're on.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Perfect.
Hello,
Would you
Candace,
mind
how are
pulling back?
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Candace, would you just take an opportunity and introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Candace Thompson, and I'm currently at St. Patrick's Catholic School, and I serve as not only a technology teacher there, but also tech integration and facilitation with our teachers. And then I will be actually taking over as assistant principal. Kind of have already assumed some of those roles with all of this COVID stuff. So that's kind of a little bit about me. I actually started working in a high school. I was at Creighton Prep for 10 years and then transitioned to the K-8 environment.
Fabulous. Well, Candace, we are so happy that you have joined us today to interview, and I get to do the interviewing today. So I have put your plan up on the screen. And what I'd love you to do is, could you just walk us through how you created your plan?
Okay, so that particular lesson, in our archdiocese standards, there are certain programs that the students have to be efficient in. So they have to know how to use any type of paint or any kind of application, whether applying kind of artistic values, but learning how to mix text and tools and colors. And so I thought for a lot of them, this is a great opportunity for them to really showcase feelings and tell their story of what it's like in isolation, or just kind of how their life has changed. And I thought it'd be a great way to introduce and continue. They've seen a program in the classroom, but we actually needed like a full lesson and kind of a way to assess it, that they can show proficiency in it. And I actually ended up having to adapt it even more than what it shows on the lesson plan. But I did a little video for them, just kind of walking them through some tools. And then some of the parents that didn't have some of those programs, we went a step further and we did some Zoom sessions. And I showed them some different things on like iPads and some of their other devices that would be able to showcase the same thing. And then they also use Seesaw. And so the other piece of it is, I think it's important that the kiddos get to showcase what they did and talk about it, and then get some feedback. And then the last part of it too is, for my office, I think this is a great way to start making some artwork and showcase the kids' work. So that's my next step with it, is printing off what they've given me and then go ahead and hang that.
That is fabulous. When I look at the Digital Age Pedagogy page here, all of your plan follows exactly what we have promoted as excellent quality of remote learning. You talked about your learning goal, you talked about your self-assessment, and then we go through a very quick, simple version of what's my instruction piece. How are my kids going to process that instruction, or what's my checking for understanding there? And then how are they going to practice, and what is that product that you're having them produce as well? I'm going to ask you a little bit about this self-check. How do you have them interact with this self-check here?
So we do Zooms, and then also on Seesaw, just having them kind of explain what was hard for them. Did they need to kind of go back and watch the videos? Did they have to use mom and dad's help? Kind of what were those steps, or did they do it just completely independent? And ideally, some of them I would know right away would have to start with a little bit of help, a little bit of extra guidance. But the ultimate goal is to get them not only excited about those tools in that particular application, but then to get them to start doing it completely on their own. And hopefully after a few renditions, they would actually find that they're doing everything completely independent. But I like the fact that it gives them that little check, and also as the teacher, to see where are they struggling, how much help were they actually needing, were they able to complete it all on their own. And so in their little Seesaw, when they're talking about it, they would not only mark that there, but be able to say, what were kind of what I like to call the grow and the glows of the assignment.
I love that term of grow and glow, especially for our elementary kiddos, so they can just see that it's not about pass fail. It's not about I can't do this, but I can grow to do certain things, and then I can go a little bit further. On the follow the path down below, it says students are to demonstrate their use of at least 4 tools and 3 colors. How have they done this activity yet, or is this just a plan still? Oh, Candace, are you still on mute?
Okay, are you there?
There you go. Yep.
Okay. So we had done some stuff with PowerPoint in the 3rd quarter before we had left. So they were used to seeing tools that are in a similar application. So they knew how to color shapes and use paintbrushes and some of those things that you would see in Word and PowerPoint. So it wouldn't have been something completely new per se, but it would have been in a different location than what they were typically used to seeing. And part of that was to not only show me where they knew where the tools were, but also to kind of keep the learning going with that age group, like identifying colors, identifying shapes, kind of doing a little cross-curricular without them knowing it.
That's fabulous. I love it. Nick and Andrew, do you have any questions that you want to ask of Candace before I can stop my share?
The one thing I will say is that kind of the outline in the rubric that we had to use for the classes, as it kind of assumed a lot of the assistant principal roles, I found that incredibly helpful as I've been working with the teachers in their PLCs and doing this blend ed, because all of our teachers, I mean, it was really, we just had to throw everybody in the pool and start going. And so I've actually used that template quite a bit with the teachers so that we can find a little bit of grace and get everybody through it. So I have found that extremely helpful, and so have the teachers.
And this is the one you're talking about right here? Just using this
Yes.
template and putting
Yep.
it into the one pager?
Yes, yeah, and the little templates that Nick has where it, builds out like the tree or the race track or something like that. It just makes it so much simpler for the teachers to see it and to not feel as overwhelmed. So I actually anticipate, I already told the teachers at our school, we're going to continue that as we continue to plan over the summer for, what does learning look like next year? Because they understand it. It's easy. They get pretty excited about it. There's always an assessment piece. I just feel like we're able to check a lot more boxes when we have something like that. So I've been really grateful for having that available.
That's fabulous. The, most of your tasks are either, well, there's a combination of the online and the offline, because as they're doing an online, they could also do the same product, not using tech with the lesson plan that you did. So I do point out every time that I'm talking about this plan is that with students that don't have connectivity, or with students that need to do some asynchronous learning, not face-to-face learning, there are these offline tasks too. And there can be equity between the online tasks and the offline tasks. There could be a combination of using both of those, or you could use one or the other. You could develop this one pager of entirely offline tasks. So I don't want you to feel like you would be excluded from using this type of a program or this one pager if your kids don't have the connectivity that they need or the devices that they need. This is very, very balanced between both. I also want to point out that down here is an interactive table of exemplary remote learning plans created by Nebraska educators. These are educators that have been in this program, or they've been part of the digital age pedagogy, or they have started attending to our webinars and workshops, and they have said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my plan together, and we give them feedback from that plan. Okay, I say we, I'm going to say Nick. Nick has been doing the feedback, so thank you, Nick. We appreciate that. Candace, what else would you like to say to close out our interview?
Oh, just to echo what you said, one of the other lesson plans that I had done, we did have on the form that it could be both digital and non-digital. And that's also been our other talk. We did a survey of our families to find out who has connectivity, who does not. And then we also took it a step further to ask, how many devices do you have in your home? And so that was the other piece. And especially with the grade school kids, was also just to find out what's an appropriate amount of time to have them on those devices, and also still building some of those other skills that they need with dexterity and creativity and some of those things that, yeah, you can do it with a device, but we should still instill it in them, just without technology.
Fabulous. I'm going to turn it over to Nick. I think he's going to get us into our next spot.
I think that was outstanding. Thank you very much. As Eileen said, on that page is an interactive table with some exemplary plans. You can filter by content area and grade range. You'll be able to find, for example, if you go down to pre-K 3, I bet you even see that plan exactly there, what we were just looking at. And you get a quick description, and then also you have a direct link to the Google slide, and you'd be able, it'd be view only in yours. You wouldn't be able to edit it, of course, but we want to make this as functional as possible for you. Again, we ask if you're interested in playing along and thinking through a remote learning plan with us, that you take the first step of filling out that schedule auto generator. It will kick you a copy. You get to pick which of those templates you like, and we will work with you to make it as pretty as we'd like it to be. So outstanding. Next up, so first off, thank you very much. Actually, did you know on Zoom here, we can click on the reactions button, and then we can all give Candace a nice little applause for her presentation. I thought that was a wonderful job. Thank you very much. So let's glance, please, at our next activity. We would like to have some conversations. And we have 3 different challenge questions today. One is, what was a takeaway that you had from that conversation, or maybe it was the presentation of the remote learning process. Also, what are some ideas what are you thinking about doing at the end of the year? We have some ideas we'd like to present to you at the very end, but we'd love to have you guys think through together. Are you going to create a timeline, or are you going to create a book of some sort to share out with the kids? How are you going to wrap up the year? That's this question. And then asking you, what would you like to learn more about? That's kind of an open-ended question. So we're going to put you into some breakout rooms, and I'm going to stop my screen share to do that. I'm putting the link right now, so if everyone would open up that link, that would be great. But when you get into your breakout rooms, when you get into your rooms, if you want to have more than one idea per room, that's wonderful. We just ask that you get at least one idea onto the Padlet wall per room here. We have 92 people here, and if you divide that by 8, it sounds like I need 12 different rooms. So
you can do math. I love it.
I made that up. I don't even know if it's true.
One of us.
All right, I'm gonna click create rooms. It's gonna pop up, and then you say yes, please. I'd like to join. Okay, so once again, the link to the Padlet wall is in the chat. Please open it up and have a great conversation. We'll be back in about 15-20 minutes. All right, so you should see it's asking you to join. Please go ahead. You okay, Joyce? She's got it. Good deal. All right.